Hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinar. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. People are still connecting right now, so we will just a minute or two to let everybody join. Then we'll get started. Hello again, and welcome to those who just joined. We can go ahead and start the webinar now. Today, we will talk about making the transition from your OCEAView ThermoServer solution to the new OCEAView solution. Let us start by introducing ourselves. I'm Anthony Rohr, Marketing Manager at OCEAView, and here with me is Mike Modjeska, a product expert who has been with OCEAView for the past 12 years. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Anthony. Hello, everybody.
This webinar will last about 40 minutes with some time for questions and answers at the end. So please do not hesitate to send us your questions using the question function in the webinar interface. So today's goal is to present major changes in our monitoring solution and also to talk about making the transition from ThermoServer to OCEAView. If you are here today, it's because you know the current ThermoServer solution. Released about 12 years ago, the solution has proven to be robust, flexible, and of course efficient. We have more than 200,000 data loggers deployed and more than 3,000 customers around the world. However, with the emergence of cloud computing and progress in the wireless communication technologies, it is fair to say that the ThermoServer thermoclient solution has run its course. So the time has come to look to the future, and basically, which is what the OCEAView solution is all about. So we will start with an overview of the OCEAView solution, focusing on its main benefits, and then we will talk about how we help customers approach the transition. After that, of course, we will finish with questions and answers. To understand what OCEAView is about, it is important to start with the foundations used to build it. Michael, can you give us a few words about the design consideration that went into creating the new solution?
Yes, of course. So first of all, as you mentioned, OCEAView has been selling the current ThermoServer solution and flagship Cobalt 2 data loggers for more than 12 years at this point. And both of those were already second generation solutions. So over time, we've acquired experience and learned from our customers, which brought us to this new long-term and even more efficient solution. So our first guiding line when designing OCEAView was to integrate all the experience and expertise that made ThermoServer and Cobalt 2 so successful. At the same time, we had to take advantage of this opportunity to implement feature suggestions requested by our customers and distributors over the years. The second major focus was to optimize wireless coverage. And our goal was to make it easier to cover very large sites, such as hospital campuses and maybe pharmaceutical complexes. So after studying various Internet of Things wireless protocols, we decided to integrate LoRaWAN connectivity because of its reliability and very, very long wireless range. The last major development pillar was related to hardware and software deployment, as well as maintenance. Simply put, our goal there was to make the solution fast and easy to set up.
Generally speaking, what is the underlying principle of the OCEAView solution? I mean, can you explain how does it work?
Well, like ThermoServer, it's designed as a complete solution to cover the entire monitoring chain for physical parameters, from sensors to services, including data loggers, wireless communication, web and mobile applications, and of course, alert management and notifications. It's a global and well-packaged offering that frees your staff from environmental monitoring constraints with a single platform that supports our entire range of data loggers to meet basically everyone's monitoring needs. So OCEAView offers two operating modes to cover different hosting requirements. You can either use the application on a secure hosted cloud platform, or to meet specific requirements, you can install it locally on servers at your own site. Operation is identical in both cases. So for example, if you look at the cloud-based architecture, the Cobalt X data loggers with their connected sensors are installed on the equipment you want to monitor. They use LoRaWAN to communicate with one or more receivers set up at your site. Those receivers send data to the cloud through a local network or even a cellular data connection. All the data stored on the cloud then is accessible through OCEAView. OCEAView, the web application, which runs in a user's web browser. So the web application is used for monitoring and the interface, and as well as for all system administration aspects. If an alarm occurs, such as a high temperature excursion, alert notifications can be sent by email, SMS, text message, or voice calls based on alert strategies that you can define in the system. We also have wireless sirens to grab your attention, and dry contact alert relays that can interface with an existing building alarm system. So in addition to that, there are the Cobalt L3 and ML3 data loggers, which are designed for slightly different uses, but are nearly identical in functionality. They also communicate using LoRaWAN, and we'll come back to that point again in a bit. Cobalt X can also communicate over Bluetooth via our OCEABridge gateway, offering an alternative to LoRaWAN communications. This option gives you a solution that is well suited for small sites and maybe outlying areas. By the end of this year, our Atlas and Emerald Bluetooth-enabled data loggers, generally used for transport applications, they will also communicate with OCEAView directly over OCEABridge or a smartphone, which is the case today. So in comparison to that, the on-premises architecture, here the solution is installed entirely on your local server instead of being on the cloud. The solution is the same, except that the receivers and web application are located on your private network. This is an option that customers choose when they want to keep data inside their own secure infrastructure, and while also controlling software updates and qualification.
Thank you for that overview, Mike. Now that our audience knows more about the OCEAView solutions and basically how it works, let's talk about the benefits it brings to customers. We don't need an exhaustive list of every benefit, but let's look at the main features that illustrate the OCEAView solution's added value compared to the legacy ThermoServer solution. I think the best starting point is our new generation data loggers. OCEAView development involved revisiting the core design of the data loggers themselves. Mike, how would you summarize the main benefits of the new generation data loggers?
Well, there really have been a lot of changes. If you compare the new line of data loggers with Cobalt 1 and Cobalt 2, one of the biggest differences is our use of the LoRaWAN wireless connectivity protocol, as I mentioned, whose key features are really low power consumption and very long wireless range. For example, the range with Cobalt 2 is about 500 meters in a line of sight connection, but LoRaWAN range is much, much further, reaching up to about 15 kilometers, a bit less than 10 miles. LoRaWAN also has the advantage of being highly resistant to radio interference, which makes it particularly effective in indoor settings and crowded real-world environments.
This is a major improvement, enabling customers to cover their sites with much less equipment, notably far fewer receivers.
Well, that's definitely one of the major benefits of LoRaWAN, but not the only one. The technology also simplifies and optimizes management for your communications. The first thing is that you no longer have to pair data loggers with their receiver, as you had to do with Cobalt 2 and ThermoServer. Now, all data loggers can communicate with any receiver located within wireless range, and there's no longer any radio problem with zones covered by two receivers, nor any collision problems thanks to LoRaWAN's multi-channel transmission. Well, suffice to say that all this makes on-site deployment much easier. So I would add that LoRaWAN automatically adjusts its wireless output power to optimize connectivity with its receiver, which ensures the best possible battery life, but it also adds security and reliability for uploading data to the cloud or a local server. Concretely, this means that a data logger always communicates with the closest receiver to preserve battery life. And if it can't establish a connection with that receiver, maybe the receiver was unplugged or something, the data logger automatically increases its power to try to reach a different receiver, even one that is further away. In any case, you can always be sure that data is uploaded, even if one receiver goes down.
The point is that one big advantage with LoRaWAN in the new generation data loggers is that you don't have to worry at all about wireless communication, right?
Yes, that's right. So LoRaWAN makes solution deployment and maintenance easy by considerably improving wireless performance. But there are also other major improvements in the new data loggers. Many new functions have been added, particularly to the Cobalt X devices. So here, Cobalt X is the flagship data logger in the OCEAView solution. You can connect up to 4 sensors, and there's memory for up to 4,000 readings for each one. This data logger runs on batteries or AC power. And unlike our previous data loggers, you don't have to stop data logging to change the batteries if it's plugged in. So also battery life is comfortably above 1 year, depending on your use. Another important new feature is that the Cobalt X offers 3 high alarm limits and 3 low alarm limits, with delays that you could assign to each one if you want. That particular feature really lets you fine-tune alert strategies. For example, you could choose to notify different people over different channels, SMS, email, or voice call, based on the increasing criticality of each level. One of the other standout features on Cobalt X is the color touchscreen, which you can even operate with gloves. So users can access a variety of features directly on the screen, such as language, choice of Celsius or Fahrenheit, the number of decimal points. They can access sensor status, the latest readings, and more. So access to some features, the more sensitive features, is protected by a PIN code. Each user has their own PIN code in the system, and that PIN code can be used to acknowledge an alarm directly on the screen of the Cobalt X without having to log in to the OCEAView application. So if the Cobalt X has an alarm, it has an outer translucent ring that lights up in color, and if it's running on AC power, there's also an alarm sound. The sensor with the alarm is shown in red on the data logger screen, as you can see here. And you can acknowledge the alarm right from there by clicking on the acknowledge button, entering your PIN code, and selecting a cause for the alarm from the pull-down list. So the information at this point is sent to the system, and you can open it again later to complete the information in OCEAView if you need to. The acknowledgement, of course, that you do here on the data logger is recorded in the system's audit trail, along with the username that is associated with the PIN code.
Thank you for that information, Mike. Before we move on to the next topic, can you just give us a few words about Cobalt L3 and Cobalt ML3?
Yes, of course. Those two data loggers have a non-touch LCD screen and are designed for a slightly different purpose than Cobalt X. Their casing is more resistant, particularly regarding water tightness, and better adapted for monitoring under harsher conditions, such as in storage facilities and transport vehicles. Cobalt L3 can monitor temperature and humidity simultaneously. It's well suited for logistics warehouses, cold rooms, refrigerators, and freezers. It's a simple, efficient, and robust data logger. Basically, the ideal alternative for monitoring in higher locations, such as up on storage shelves, and in places where there's no reason to have a touch screen. Cobalt ML3 is dedicated to temperature monitoring, particularly for transporting temperature-sensitive goods. It's small, extremely robust, designed to resist the shocks and vibrations that a data logger is likely to experience inside a vehicle, for example. So to summarize, I would say that these new generation data loggers together focus more on providing a smooth user experience. Interaction is an important feature for staff who have to handle data loggers on a regular basis, whereas data loggers in rougher environments, above all, require more robustness.
Thank you for that overview, Mike. Another hardware aspect, of course, it's the sensor. That's the new topic I would like to talk about. With the OCEAView solution, we wanted to improve, let's say, our handling of sensors. The idea was to find a way to eliminate certain constraints related to calibration and the use of wires. For that, we developed two new concepts: OceaSoft Smart Sensors and Remote Sensors. Mike, how would you describe these different concepts and their benefits?
Okay, well, the smart sensor is a sensor probe equipped with a microcontroller and memory that enables you to store all calibration parameters, that is A and B or A, B, and C correction coefficients, along with reading uncertainty after calibration, annual drift, and the sensor serial number. So OCEAView offers a wide range of these smart sensors to monitor physical parameters, such as temperature, humidity, CO2 levels, differential pressure. And smart sensors have some very practical advantages. First of all, they are recognized automatically by the data logger. All you have to do is plug them in for them to work in supported products without any other configuration required. For recalibrating sensors, all you have to do is plug in a freshly calibrated sensor in place of the old one, and you don't have any downtime or any gaps at all in your traceability. We also have a PT100 smart sensor that integrates its own analog to digital converter.
So even for PT100 sensors, you no longer need to calibrate the entire measurement chain, including the sensor and the data logger. The smart sensor itself is now a complete measurement chain, so you can just plug in a new sensor directly. This is actually a real improvement over the legacy solution, over the competition, making recalibration a really simple operation.
Definitely. It's something that customers have shared with us over time. So at the same time, we developed what we call remote sensors to solve a problem that a lot of our customers have. That is, sensor wires often get yanked out by accident or maybe broken during product handling in a monitored refrigerator. A Bluetooth-enabled remote sensor can be paired wirelessly with a Cobalt X data logger. So in this case, you don't have any cables or wires to deal with, no more risk of cable damage. With a single Cobalt X data logger, you can have up to 4 of these remote sensors monitoring different pieces of equipment, and above all, no more cabling constraints. We have 2 types of remote sensors. The Emerald, which is used for temperature monitoring, and Atlas, which actually has temperature, humidity, and light sensors integrated. So not only that, but with the Cobalt X data logger, you can use any combination of wired and wireless sensors at the same time.
Yeah, these concepts all contribute to versatility, adding a practical dimension that makes work easier every day. Again, our goal with the OCEAView solution was really to improve as many aspects as possible, both in terms of hardware and software. So why don't we have a closer look at the OCEAView web application, which is the last but not the least major benefit of this solution. First of all, it is important to mention that OCEAView was entirely developed by our teams, based on, of course, years of experience, deep knowledge about the real-world issues related to monitoring and customer constraints. We made this application specifically to meet those needs and expectations. Mike, having participated in designing this application, what do you feel are the main advantages?
Well, to start, it's a web application with responsive design instead of a Windows application. So it runs in a web browser such as Chrome or Firefox on computers and tablets. Nothing at all needs to be installed on users' computers, which saves time and eliminates technical constraints. But it also offers flexibility for people to access the solution basically from anywhere. Not only that, but with cloud hosting, application updates are handled automatically without any of the workload typically associated with local installations. Of course, we provide advance notice to customers before updates are implemented, along with a list of new features. So let's take a quick look at the platform with this video. So here's the screen. You log into the application using your web browser with your username and password. The home page for what we call watch mode shows you a global overview of monitored equipment, freezers, refrigerators, cold rooms, storage areas, production facilities, whatever you're monitoring. A color code highlights the status of each measurement point. Green if all is well, for example, or red if there's a high limit excursion. Use the side menu to access application features and setup screens. OCEAView includes detailed user management features with roles and access rights for administrators and basic users, all based on your site and department organization. So each user, of course, has their own account information with contact details. This information can be integrated automatically through a corporate directory using LDAP. So users can have the same password for OCEAView and their Windows session. Here's where users can see or change their personal PIN code, which they can use to acknowledge alarms on the Cobalt X screen, as we mentioned. You can apply filters in the watch mode display to show your equipment based on different criteria, and access sensor graphs easily. You can zoom in on the graph, define the date range that you want to see, and then data for that selected period can be exported in different formats. So from the equipment list, alarm list, or directly by clicking on one of the thumbnails, you can acknowledge an alarm or add details to an acknowledgement that was done directly on the Cobalt X data logger. You can see alarm details by clicking on the arrow on the line with the alarm. And then when acknowledging an alarm, you can indicate a cause for the problem, and as well as any comments regarding corrective and preventive action that you may take.
Yeah, one of the new paradigms in OCEAView is the concept of equipment, which one that optimizes monitoring system management.
Exactly. That's one of the biggest changes in the OCEAView solution. It's completely different from the way it was handled in ThermoServer and competing products. So all of your equipment is shown in the equipment menu, your refrigerators, freezers, and all that. And here's where you add the equipment to be monitored with OCEAView, give it a name, and there's some pictograms to help you identify the equipment. You must indicate where in your organization it is, which site, which department, building or laboratory it's located. So users assigned to those areas can view it. For each piece of equipment, you can also indicate where it's located on a floor plan of your building, which can help you find equipment quickly in case of an alarm. You can even check the status of any and all equipment on the floor plan at a glance. So this equipment is what we see in the tile dashboard called watch mode. And you can actually assign as many sensors as you want to equipment, which enables you to really ensure traceability for that equipment, even if a sensor is changed. For example, here we have equipment where the sensor was changed for recalibration. The graph shows an uninterrupted traceability curve from the old sensor to the new sensor on the right.
Thank you for that quick presentation. So you were able to cover some of the most important benefits of the OCEAView solution. At this point, you must all be wondering how the actual transition will take place. Before we continue, I would like to talk briefly about the end-of-life plan for ThermoServer and Cobalt 2. As we have mentioned in some of our emailings, we are no longer selling new ThermoServer licenses or Cobalt 2 data loggers for new installations. However, we will continue to provide Cobalt 2 products to expand existing sites, or for example, replace hardware until December 31st, 2024. After that point, we will provide Cobalt 2 products based on available inventory. But since we will no longer be manufacturing the product, we will no longer be able to guarantee Cobalt 2 delivery. But do not worry, you still have lots of time to prepare for your solution transition. Also, we will continue to provide technical support for the ThermoServer solution indefinitely. So that's the timeline. Mike, can you take a moment to present our transition assistance program?
Sure. We based our assistance plan starting with a customer survey that included a large enough sample to be representative. We identified questions and needs in order to help make the transition to the OCEAView solution as smooth as possible. The plan is based on 3 parts: sales assistance, technical support, and guaranteed continuity of monitoring services. So with respect to sales issues, our teams, of course, are at your service to help plan ahead for OCEAView solution deployment and to analyze your site's requirements and scaling needs. This includes taking into account the locations and number of pieces of equipment to be monitored in order to ensure data logger optimization at your sites. So again, on the commercial side, here's another important point. You can keep using your current temperature sensors, which means you don't have to buy new ones for OCEAView solution data loggers. The last point concerns your current data loggers. We're offering a trade-up program that includes discounts when you buy Cobalt X, Cobalt L3, and Cobalt ML3 data loggers. On the technical side, our technicians can go on site to take care of any data logger, sensor, and receiver installations, or to install a private server and an on-premises solution, if you prefer to host the solution locally. Once the solution is installed, our team will train staff members who will be using OCEAView so that they understand the software and hardware components and feel comfortable using it themselves. The last part of our assistance plan involves having OceaSoft teams help ensure continuity in your monitoring services. So throughout the transition process, our technicians take every possible measure to guarantee uninterrupted monitoring and data traceability for your equipment. The ThermoServer solution actually remains in place during the whole deployment phase. And then only once the new solution is tested and validated, the ThermoServer solution can be decommissioned. And since ThermoServer is not really uninstalled, you can still access the data and generate reports, which could be necessary in case of an audit.
Thank you, Mike. I think we need to highlight the fact that OceaSoft is implementing every means necessary so you can approach the transition serenely. At this point, we have only had positive feedback from customers who made the move to OCEAView. Actually, results have been very encouraging for all our customers. Let's watch an excerpt of customers' testimonial by Aude Garçon, R&D director at a private biotech company affiliated with the French National Scientific Research Agency.
Alors, le logiciel OCEAView, ben, forcément, est un peu plus moderne, on va dire, que le ThermoServer, et du coup, beaucoup plus intuitif. En fait, l'interface, je pense, pour quelqu'un qui est pas trop expérimenté. Alors, bon, il faut la formation de départ, elle est bien utile, mais après, la structure est beaucoup plus intuitive, en fait, pour réussir à aller paramétrer les appareils. Et puis le fait qu'il y ait tous ces onglets avec le suivi des équipements, le suivi des sondes, les dates de validité en fait des sondes aussi, tout ça c'est beaucoup plus simple, je trouve, sur la plateforme OCEAView que ça l'était sur le ThermoServer. Et puis surtout, ça permet de pouvoir consulter à peu près de n'importe où, n'importe comment, d'avoir un suivi beaucoup plus fluide et de ne pas être contraint en fait par un poste client ThermoServer qui est placé dans une pièce où il faut que la personne ait accès à la pièce, la clé, le code d'entrée sur l'ordinateur. En fait, toutes les personnes qui sont susceptibles de pouvoir intervenir et de faire l'acquittement d'alarme peuvent le faire à peu près à n'importe quand et de n'importe où, et ça c'est très pratique. Honnêtement, moi je suis très contente qu'on ait fait la bascule. Après, moi, ça demande effectivement un petit investissement de départ. Mais qui est très rapidement rentabilisé par le fait effectivement qu'on puisse mettre plus de sondes sur un seul déjà récepteur, qu'on puisse en plus maintenant mettre des sondes qui sont des sondes connectées par Bluetooth, donc en fait on n'a plus de problème non plus de sondes filaires. La bascule du système s'est passée de façon très fluide en fait. On n'a quasiment pas perdu de données parce que nos appareils sont restés monitorés sur le système ThermoServer le temps que soit déployé le nouveau système. Et une fois que tout roulait correctement sur le système OCEAView, on a pu arrêter à ce moment-là le ThermoServer, donc on n'a perdu aucune donnée et ça s'est fait sans difficulté. Après, la formation pour l'usage de l'OCEAView s'est faite sur une journée. Très honnêtement, enfin, elle était tout à fait abordable, pas trop lourde non plus, juste ce qu'il fallait. Le formateur était parfaitement à l'écoute pour répondre à tout type de questions. Après, il faut un petit temps d'adaptation effectivement entre le ThermoServer et l'OCEAView, mais ça se fait en fait très rapidement.
So that's about all we had for you today. We can take a few moments to conclude this webinar with some questions and answers. We will take a few of the questions submitted during the webinar, and since we have your contact information, we will get back to you directly if we don't have time to answer now. So let's see the questions. Okay, this one. Do I have to recalibrate my cobalt 2 temperature sensors to use them with OCEAView?
Recalibrate the sensors to use with OCEAView. So that's a good point. The good news, of course, is that you can take any of the OCEAView digital temperature sensors that you already have with ThermoServer and use them with Cobalt X and Cobalt L3 data loggers, and their calibration remains valid. The other good news is that for analog PT100 sensors, you can leave them in your minus 80 Celsius freezer and use them directly with Cobalt X and Cobalt L3 with a new smart sensor adapter that we made. However, in that case, calibration would need to be redone.
Okay, next one. Do we always have to send sensors back to OSHA source for annual recalibrations?
Well, of course, you can still do that. We offer recalibration still through our sensor swapping program. But if you do want to handle metrology internally, the other option is to use our new OSHA-Cal solution, which will enable you to be completely independent for all your calibration operations. It's a standalone tool that you can use to calibrate and generate calibration certificates for up to 40 connected sensors at a time. And that's possibly the topic for another webinar.
Yeah, definitely. All right, next one, let's see, this one, you mentioned trading in old equipment. Do we have to send that to you?
Well, actually, as part of our trade-in offer, once the OCEAView solution is installed and the system is up and running, we will order a pickup to collect your old equipment at our expense. A carrier will come pick up items directly at your site.
Okay. Maybe one last question as we're running out of time. How about this one? Is there a specific Cobalt X for measuring CO2? Yeah.
Okay. Sorry if I wasn't completely clear about that earlier. It's actually very simple. It's actually much simpler than with Cobalt 2 because you can plug in any of our probes and sensors for physical parameters. Temperature, of course, but also relative humidity, differential pressure, CO2 levels, etc. They all plug in to the Cobalt X. So that makes ordering easier as you really only have one data logger reference and not one for each physical parameter.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Sorry if we didn't answer to your question, but as we have your email, we will come back to you and answer directly. So thank you for your participation. If you want, do not hesitate, please, to contact us, to contact Alexandre Viard. This is our export manager. Again, thank you for your time and have a good day.
Mm-hmm.